I spent the entire night almost having very little sleep. I did allow myself some sleep, but most of the time I was awake, spying on the same people that are spying on me. Basically, they wait till they think I fall asleep, and usually they're very impatient. It's only about 30 minutes, and they start doing stuff. But this time, instead of ignoring it, and instead of getting up, turning on a light, or getting up at all, I just stayed put to make them think that I was still asleep. So if you look at that, and then you look, you know, to over this side here, where that is right there, it's actually the same. It's the floor for the upstairs. It's quite dark, but there's a behind here. There it is. There's that same right there. There's that same ledge where the roof meets the upper level floor. In a cabin like this, any place you see that, it's not airtight. You can see there's you know, fiberglass and stuff. It's not airtight. It's desperately trying to figure out, is it somebody trying to hide in this bed frame, or is it somebody on the outside that's banging up against that, wildly banging up against that, because it was near at floor level, and I heard it most on that other side, at least in this room. But technically, somebody can rip out the bottom and hide in something like that, because it's mostly empty. But the problem is, I don't know anyone that's that skinny. I don't know anyone that's that skinny, and I have, you know, sixth sense, and I did not sense any energy present inside there, which led me to think they're probably still on the outside. But and on a normal day, I'd probably just assume that. But last night, I woke up to it like that. You know, it'd be very, very difficult for someone with a wire to totally take it off and then especially put it back. Especially just like that. So while it's probably not impossible, if you had a little wire that went through like that and you did that maneuver with it, you'd have to have another wire to catch this, so that it didn't just fall, so that you could put it back. And when you put it back, it would have had to just magically stay like that. So I don't think anyone actually got in, but I had accidentally left that unlocked. It also would be near impossible to put a wire and actually pick the lock from a wire that goes all the way through the door and out the other side and curves around. I mean, that'd just be way too difficult. In theory, you can pick this lock if it was on the outside, but you know, since it's on the inside, something had to come all the way around through a big thick door. I just don't think. And of course, I hear bumps through, you know, all the time through. You know somebody crawls up from underneath the ductwork, and that kind of lock underneath the house they can pick. So about the only thing that I can do is lock them from the outside, basically prevent them, because they can come in to the ductwork, but they can't come past this. But that doesn't mean that they can't blow stuff through here. Definitely they can blow things through the ductwork. But the type of air that I felt was very cold, and it didn't feel like it was coming from the vents. It felt like it was coming all, like I said, ground level, you know, coming from there. And that's where I was hearing the most noise, was on the other side of that. I didn't want to actually get up and walk about and investigate, because I find that when I do that, things get quiet, even if I don't turn on a light. I think they have some kind of heat sensing, You know, nowadays, it's sad but true, especially upstairs where a lot of it is not solid wood. A lot of it is just your average this material. And especially something like that, you can actually, especially that there's technology now that you can shoot a camera at this, and the camera will show that there's someone on the other side, and they won't just show that there's an anomaly of someone on the other side. It'll show whether or not they're sitting up or lying down and what part of the room they're in. And so that's why I wanted to appear like, especially just in case someone actually was in here that I couldn't find, you know, that was hiding in a really nice spot. I wanted to make sure that I acted like I was completely asleep. And it worked flawlessly because they did not stop all night long, almost. At one time I heard some keys rattling and I heard somebody try to open this door, but they failed because it's got the same kind of lock. Actually, it's got two. It's got another one down there. I thought I might have heard the bells, I don't know, but I at least heard some keys. And despite your best efforts, you know, this is a cabin and, you know, it's not always airtight. There's a natural draft from the wind, but I know what that feels like, and this was not that. This was an unnaturally strong draft, and it came in spurts. And I've had it several times, actually. I've had it happen several times where it's always at what would be upstairs, floor level, what would be lower level, I guess ceiling level, but it's always at that level. But chickens have muddy up the porch again, my goodness. He didn't mop it again. I'm gonna actually walk around and show you what it looks like from the outside, because this is actually kind of important. One summer, I promise this is going somewhere, this is to prove a point. One summer actually, a queen hornet built her nest in that closet that I was showing you. And the way that she got in was right. What I'm about to show you is how she got in. It's not airtight at all. It's a huge gap. At least, you know, when you're talking about air, you know, it's a huge gap. If hornets can squeeze in, especially now. This year, she was a little kinder to me, and she decided that she wanted to make her nest in a much better spot. I don't mind at all. Nobody bothered me. I didn't bother them. And a little animal, probably a possum or something, decided to eat some of the dead bees. But, you know, it's winter now. But that's where she made it this year. But a few years past, she actually squeezed through there. She squeezed through there. And she made it on the other side in my closet. You know, right in my bedroom. That's not a good place to have hornets crawling on your bed. So, but my point is, I heard what I thought somebody stand up on this and then fall. And I heard a lot of ruckus, people trying to get up there. And anyone who builds houses probably knows that the way that roof is shaped, there is definitely a huge crack where, I say huge, you know, a mouse probably couldn't get through, but enough to where if you forcefully blow air, some kind of forceful air through, that air is going right through the other side. That closet is not airtight, and because it's where it meets the floor, the first level is all real logs, which means the first level all the way up to the lower level floor has cracks in every digit. Like I said, all cabins, but especially one that's designed like this, where it's split log, you just can't avoid draft. One of the biggest drafts is, like I said, where the floor meets the ceiling and where the roof comes in like that. Also, fresh footprints that are not mine, that are not the mail carrier. Look how fresh these are. Okay, you can see, you can definitely see that, you know, there's the pollen. Those footprints, you know, had something on them, something wet, because you know, and it actually, totally makes sense, because right here there's 2 footprints. It's a really strange spot. Like I said, remember I said, it seems like someone fell. Right there, someone fell. And that's right. So there's at least 2 different types of footprints that are not mine. They're either too big or they're the wrong track. And you can see that, you know, it's just happened. Probably back when the ground was still wet. That's probably why. Because, you know, I'm not making a track now at all, because the ground's not wet. It rained, you know, a couple nights ago, and the ground kind of stays wet for a while. Here, at least here, it stays wet for a while. And if you were to walk on it now, you're not making any tracks now, you know. So it had to have been, you know, before the ground dried, you know. So that would have been last night. I know it wasn't the mail carrier because he hasn't actually been down here in over a week. And it's interesting because I see the same tread a lot. So it's got to be the same person. That right there on the heel part of the foot, especially that tread's always the same. So basically what they're doing is they're taking advantage of the draft. Something really powerful. I don't know what it is. Cyanide? I don't know. I have no idea. Something really, probably not that. Something really powerful that they can put into a vapor. And they are just, a few seconds after you feel the cold air, if you breathe it, you nearly pass out, you get a big headache, you feel like you are on fire, you feel like you're going to vomit. So what I do is I do magic to, like a ricochet shield. As soon as I feel that air, I close my mouth, I hold my breath, and I do magic to actually force all of that air back into the mouths of the people that are spraying it. That's a pretty elaborate war / shielding magic that it's called Ricochet Shield. I actually have a video about it if you want to learn more about how to do one. But basically whatever malice they give you, it physically literally goes right back onto them. And then you can also set it up where, you know, it happens all the time. You want in, Raven? I get you a minute. She wants in. I open the gate. Go on, Raven. And now you don't want in, really? All that trouble for nothing. So basically, now there she goes. Basically, you know, you don't have to worry about, like I said, you don't have to play whack-a-mole game of cat and mouse. You just have to set it up once, and then any time in the future, if they try to do the same thing, it just automatically ricochets. And I'd say, you know, the poison's out of the room within a minute or so. So you just kind of, until it's out, you kind of have to breathing underneath the covers or your shirt or something filtered. Occasionally I do hear people talking, but last night I didn't. I just heard the banging, you know, and it's very predictable. About 30 minutes after all the lights go out and I don't move, that's when it starts. If I get up and walk around even with the lights off, it stops. That's what makes me think that they've got something that can tell, like I said, one of those gadgets that can tell on the other side of the wall where you are in the room. Chickens have it lucky, they don't have to deal with this drama. But my pet snake Ember actually does, because he lives in the house with me, and so I try to put him on the opposite side where they don't usually target. Honestly, I don't know how they would, because on the opposite side there is no way for people to climb up. You know, basically, you know, yeah, I did find out that my family was doing that for sure, and that's what they were doing. But, you know, it wasn't my family per se, it's just people that I know that they hire to do this. They're hell-bent on making me suffer. If they can't kill me, then they at least want to make me suffer. And I'm hell-bent on fighting back. It's just stupid shit my entire life, and I can tell you right now, as a child I didn't know how to combat it. As a child, if I did something with magic, it was on accident. The people who did that to me last night, or tried to, one got so critically ill that they're probably not going to survive. The other's in the hospital, and the third one, unfortunately is probably going to make it. What a joy to feed them the poison that was intended to me, their own, literally feeding them their own poison. All I did was use the winds to create a ricochet shield to blow that air back in their face. But they're like rats, or jackrabbits. I mean, there's always more.